Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
There was a slide which said beat at the top. What was that for?
BEAT stand for behavioral engagement triggers. Behavioral emotional engagement trigger. So BEAT stand for behavioral emotional engagement trigger. Okay, so let's come to the second part of this work group, and I hope you like the new format where we can just have a discussion and then we can talk about the topic. So the topic we want to talk about is how you reach more people, right? How you can reach more people. So I want to take it away from the money side because some of you here are very skeptical about, are we doing this for money or are we doing this for value? Or so I'm not getting into more customers. I want to just basically say more people. So if we understand the list of engagement, we have people here who are paying money. We have clients who are getting service. We have prospects. We have lead. We have audience target. We have audience, and then we have general. And here we have the people who will come to return, and these people who come to repair, and these people who are retired. The question is, people will only pay money to be committed, right? When people pay money, they'll be committed.
They're committed.
That's right. So one of the questions is how I can maintain these people. We will maintain these people in what we call it list, that's right? You want to build a list. Building a list means you have a software, not an Excel, to be able to automate part of the list. That's right? So, first of all, what is the target for these people to pay money? No, what's the target for these people to pay money for? It means what? If my target here, it's a $5,000 to $10,000 program, my list will be different than the target of having a list where people will pay 99 cents to, help me guys here, to like $10, okay?
Or to $2.97.
Yeah, so based on your targets, you have to understand. So when somebody come and say, I have a 30,000 mailing list, like right now, we had an example of a 300 mailing list, and this 300 mailing list at almost $0, there is a 30% conversion because there is 30% of this mailing list will be interacting and asking for questions, right? This is the example we have. Okay? So for me to be able to build a $5,000 to $10,000 or $50,000 mailing list, my mailing list cannot be 100,000 people, okay? Because my mailing list will be smaller, very focused. If I have this target, the question is where the mailing list exists on this particular model. So usually the mailing list will be in this area here. Because when this lead will give you email, this when they start to have them in the mailing list.
I thought it was at AT, not L.
No, AT will be interested, but I become a lead to you when I give you my information, right?
Okay.
So if I give you my business card, hey Mike, let's talk. Oh, by the way, his name is Mike, not Michael.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, just to make sure because I know.
I answer to both.
Yeah.
I'm good with both.
I know. But we love to have to know each one how to pronounce their name. Okay, right? So just
I answer to both.
I understand you're kind enough, but also out of due respect, you have to.
I'll go by Mike. Well, okay.
Okay, so when somebody comes from audience targeted and provide you with an email, they become a lead. Okay? Make sense? When you want to nurture this lead to buy a product is different story. Okay? So the question is, how can I expand this emailing list? So one of the current practice is somebody went here and came back and become a lead. Because what was described as a scenario is I went on a somebody webinar, I went to somebody else webinar, and this somebody else webinar, I upsell them. This is exactly what was said. I upsold them something, and then they provide me their email. So this is how this lead generation happened. And then if you want to understand it and you have the imagination, as I'm engineering by heart only, but not by, anyway, you have to understand that you have your access in this way. There is some other accesses in the other way for the other guy. Because the one who invite you to the workshop, they have their own funnel, but in a different dimension. He's selling different products, right? So when you intercept with him and say, okay, let's go sell this offer together. Out of selling this co-offer, what happens is you have a referral, and this referral nurture your group. Now he's selling more here on his upselling as well, of selling the recording. And what will happen is some cash value will come back to you. So don't consider this as one dimension or just one line or this one offer. Make sense for now? Now the question will be is, so what do you do for how you can advance the lead to be a client? We advance them by providing the client here the 15 minutes Monday morning. Okay? Now, do you want to offer them more product? Is a different story. Do you agree?
More product in the same.
Yeah, it's a different story. So and I hope this model will simplify everything.
Yeah.
So all my annual membership, my workshops, my everything else is coming here in this column, not in this column. For them, for me as a client, they are coming for me for what we call it free webinar, plus accessing recording later on, which is only one recording for the day or for the week. And if they want to come to buy the package of the recording of the whole year, they will come to be a customer. Do you agree on this model?
Yeah.
So if I come and say, what was it? It was Ignite or it was the lower level? No, the lower level was what?
Oh, it was Spark.
Spark. So if I want to sell them Spark or Ignite or Shine, these are three different levels of whatever program here without details what the program look like. If you have interested, we can talk about it, but without details. This is my 3-tier offer, which will come at this level. Make sense? Make sense? Now, the question is, how can I expand this email list? So what are the ideas to expand my mailing list?
What I do right now is I take an excerpt from my free webinars that I send to my clients and I put it on Facebook. Generate more comments on it.
So you put it on Facebook.
Yeah. I even put it on my YouTube channel, which I have for the free videos, not the public videos.
And what's the problem of having it on YouTube channel?
What's the problem?
Yep.
I don't have a problem having it on.
The problem on YouTube channel is there is no groups on YouTube channel. The YouTube is individually structured, so you can build your own list, but there is no group of interest. So the question is, what other social media you have that you can populate so you can get more people in?
I don't know. So I don't know where else I would put those videos up. I mean, I've got my website, but I don't know other social media channels where I could put up my videos on.
So to build the traffic to these videos,
Well, I'm not trying to build traffic to the. I'm trying to build traffic to my product, not product, but my webinar.
I am only talking about this part.
Yeah, that's where I'm trying to build my.
So I'm
traffic.
segmenting this particular area here,
Yeah.
and I don't want to add more colors.
Got it? Okay.
I'm ignoring
Yes. Okay.
what's happened. I'm not ignoring it. I'm not discussing it right now.
Gotcha.
Okay? So I'm now to be able to get here, to get to here, I have to talk about this target audience and this audience. So this audience, you mentioned Facebook.
Yes, that's what you're.
Where else these people hang around? Because you will find logically
LinkedIn? LinkedIn?
Yeah, so you will find it logically LinkedIn, you will find it Twitter, you will find Instagram, you will find I don't want to call it WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is the second largest social media compared to Facebook. So there are like 60 different Facebook like social media platform. What you really get said it, and very interestingly, is people who are using VK will be more attracted to you.
Okay.
Because you mentioned that
What's VK?
it's a Facebook of Russia. So Russians don't use Facebook.
I have one lady from Russia. She's just all over this. I
And
know-
this is what you mentioned. You mentioned the guy had the people from Romania,
Yeah.
from Russia.
Yeah,
So these people don't hang around Facebook. These people hang around VK. And interestingly enough, that if you host your videos on YouTube, so I'm hosting the video on YouTube. Oh no, don't confuse them.
Don't confuse.
I am hosting my
Be
video.
simple-minded, don't confuse.
I'm hosting my video on YouTube. Number two, I am creating a blog post on my website. Number three, I am sharing the blog post link to this list. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever. I should be able to reach here any interesting crowd who are on this medium. So are the steps clear? Now somebody will come and say, oh, but this is not authentic because you should just load it to Facebook right away. You can do this as a supplement, but the basic principle now is I'm doing these 3 steps. And I want to be clear on the steps so people here understand. And then there are tools for promotion. So one of the tools for promotion here will be like a plugin. So this is a plugin for Facebook which interface to each one of these. Okay?
You mean like it'll post it automatically to these channels?
Yes. Do you want to go into the specifics? I can go into the specifics. How to implement it. So you can implement them in multiple ways. Number one way is I can have the WordPress plugin. Plugin means a little bit of code, you download it, you activate it, and then what happens? You can share this with the different accounts, different groups, different whatever. Number two approach will be that inside the configuration of Twitter and inside the configuration of LinkedIn, you can actually make a LinkedIn post which will automatically go through Twitter. and the Twitter post will automatically report to Facebook. So this will be inside the configuration of the actual account. So if I go manually and I share this particular link inside my LinkedIn, I will check both because it will show up here, it will show on the Twitter feed, and automatically it will show on my Facebook. Make sense?
I've used it before.
So there is also
Google Plus is another
sorry.
one. Google Plus.
There is also Google Plus. The point which has to be made here as well is what is the third approach to be able to share information? I can use third party application like IFF,
FT.
IFTTT.
No, it's no IFTTT.
I can use Buffer. I can use Hootsuite. There are a few other programs.
Chapter.
Zapier. There's a few other programs where I can use, and I'm not here mentioning which one is no cost, which one is limited, which one is free, which one is paid. I'm not coming on these discussions yet. The point I want to make sure to understand that these tools demonstrate that you are not authentic. You are somebody doing it. When you do the WordPress plugin, people will appreciate this more as authentic, as real.
Actually, Buffer is having some challenges with his Facebook and all these social media channels are blocking the automatic posts.
Yep.
And so there's quite a bit of challenge there.
And not only blocking the automatic post, what happened is we used to have there was a package which was very interesting. It was working on Twitter, where you can basically go and just design your whole schedule on Twitter. You can actually go and get followers on Twitter. And what happens there is this particular package, what happened to it is it was Tweet Adder. And Twitter decided not to allow them anymore doing the work they were doing. So when you use these tools, you have to be able to understand they can disappear. Facebook can change the policy. That's why when you anchor everything else to your website, what's the policy of your website? If you don't pay for the hosting, what will happen to your website? It will disappear. So for your website presence online, there's only one rule. You can keep doing your website as long as you maintain the hosting, so you are the only one in control, nobody else. Even if the company will go out of business, they will give you a notice to go to another host. Does it make sense? So the question is how you can attract this audience to be able to sign up to be an email. So I believe if you start to populate those, you can measure how many new faces will come. Now, the problem right now will be that Facebook, they do have different groups. So Facebook, they do have different groups. LinkedIn, they do have different groups. Google Plus, they don't call them groups, they call them something else. Okay?
Google Plus, they don't call them that?
They don't call them groups, they call them something else. Okay? Circles or whatever, they call them at least circles. So each one of these will need to take one extra step to understand how the sharing is. The challenge with Instagram and the Twitter will be how to use the hashtags. But I can tell you, whenever I share anything on Instagram, I will have between 3 to 60 some like and share within the next 5 minutes.
Instagram.
Yes. Because I am not I'm not used to be active there. Okay? The third challenge you have, so challenge number one, you understand the structure, what groups they have. The challenge number two is you understand the hashtags. So what was the third challenge? Sorry, I forgot it right now. The third challenge is how to create followers on this particular platform. And Instagram is very straightforward because once you have Instagram, they will always ask you to automatically invite people from Facebook. So by inviting people through Facebook, it will create something in the grid that their friends will know that they are now active on Instagram and they are connecting to you, and so many other things will happen. There is specific tags on Twitter which will allow people to automatically retweet your Twitter, so it will reach more people.
So tags on Twitter?
Yes. So there's like
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
YVR now. There are some.
They will automatically.
Yeah, they will retweet it as common information or common news.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very important to stop the monolithic approach of just saying my audience are on Facebook, and all what I do is Facebook. Okay. The challenge with VK is you need to know Russian to be able to subscribe to it. So it took me, I think, 3 hours. I said the story before. So when I had my VK account, I had and they don't have OK and cancel. There's something in the middle. I don't know what it is, because there's some screens which say like OK, next step or OK and cancel, and there's something a third button. So it took me a challenge because I don't know how to read or write Russian. I was just going testing it how to complete a sign up, and once I signed up and I got the credential, I was able to sign up to some plugins. Some plugins asked me to get a code which I couldn't get because it's all Russian language, but people there are only also exchanging knowledge in English. So developing countries are very critical, and some countries are coming. So I know Japan is coming on live coaching and training. We know that Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, this part of these countries are coming to this kind of emotional trainings or yeah. Now, the third one, the fourth thing you have to consider that this also have a commercial pattern. So this is an advertisement that you can do. So like there's a Facebook ad.
Yeah, so it's a paid ad.
It's a paid advertisement. When you do the paid advertisement in these countries, like in Russia or any of these countries, it has a much higher return of investment than in Canada, US.
Oh, really?
So you must feel blessed and feel the blessing if you are if your target markets are in these particular nations. Like you can get 10,000 followers in India for like $15 to $50. Easy.
Really?
Yeah. So this is where it gets into how are you targeting these people. Now, what's your offer for those once they sign up? It's basically an email or a post inviting them to see the webinar. Make sense?
You have to figure out the time zone.
And away from the time zone, I can tell you one thing. If people want to try it out, they will wake up on it. But your interest is what? Is to get them the email, and what will happen? You give them the access to the playback. So access to playback, will this play with the time zone or not? Okay. So if you have it at 9 o'clock in the morning, Actually, 9 o'clock in the morning for these zones are not bad because 9 o'clock in the morning will be somewhere between noon time over there to 6, 7 p.m. over there. So it's not bad. Like I know 9 o'clock in the morning will be like 6 p.m.
But I know the first time I did the webinar, we thought, we think Sunday 11 a.m. is the best time to attack them.
So if you are Monday 9 o'clock in the morning, you are not that far.
No.
Because 9 o'clock in the morning here will be literally 4 o'clock p.m. in UK. So if you are going west of UK, it will be 4 a.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and keep forward.
Yeah, so right now, because I have this,
Right now it's 11 o'clock here.
it's 10 p.m. right now. But this is lady,
Yeah. So, and people in these cultures, they wake up, they don't go to bed at 8 o'clock.
8 p.m. Right? So
They don't go at 8, they go late.
Yeah.
They are late. So
9
if you,
o'clock is 8 p.m. that time.
so 9 o'clock will be 8 p.m. That their time in Russia. So there'll be like, and you can cover lots of zones at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay? However, you provide the access. Okay?
So you're saying to grow my list, I have to look beyond just my backyard here and just go right to all these other channels where we can
Yep, and my personal experience, like I work with people in everywhere, and it's very hard to get Tracy to attend here because she's in Calgary. Like I work with people everywhere except Calgary right now. Because Calgary is not like only people who you know in Calgary will come to you, but normal people will go elsewhere, and people from elsewhere will go to Calgary. So this is where you have to balance it. Make sense? Any reflection or any? This is a discussion. This is a working group, so we're supposed to work together. Like
Also, you're the expert.
I'm not the expert. I'm
You're the local, right?
sorry.
Yeah, you're an expert if you're not local.
Also, you're the expert.
Yep.
Otherwise, you'll be the local.
Yep. And I always remember when I start my first job at the Arab Academy for Science and Technology, and we were dealing with oil spill simulation environment simulators. So we will be training people how to combat oil spill in marine environment and what different roles with instant command centers and stuff like that. We got these two people from Exxon Valdez, and all what these people were doing is they're basically cleaning bird and collecting after Exxon Valdez incident. And they were we were engineers and all of us as developers, and we're trying to break into this environmental programs. And these guys will talk to us about going to birds and brushing them. And like, what? And then we stand against these two Americans. Went to our superior and said, there is no value for this workshop. Why do you have like a week to waste with these people? It's not part of your training. It doesn't make any value. Like, what's the value I'm getting? So the individual there, he said it loudly. He said, a consultant is somebody lives 50 miles away, knows terminologies, come to you to take your watch, tell you the time. That's why I'm a consultant here. And you guys have to listen to me. So we keep going for another 3 days, but it was like awful. So you are always perceived as expert if you are not in your own backyard. The question will be is this a legitimate, noble approach? What's your main target from your offer? To impact more people. Do you agree? Like, does everybody around the table agree that's the primary goal, to impact more people's life? That's right? So if I target more people here, I'm still within my noble approach. I'm not doing it in a different way. Make sense? So if you have your Facebook post, you are halfway. What I would share or what I recommend is explore the plugins to go from your website right away to different platforms as auto share. And then what will happen is you have this content. Also, there is a plugin on Facebook called Revive. It allows you to go to the older blogs and reshare them among those.
It's called Revive.
Yep. So you can basically go back and redistribute or re-announce. Re-announce might be a better word to use. Re-announce the current Facebook blogs, which is like a month old or 2 months old or a year old. Re-announce them on this social media. So by reposting the old content, you will be able to create more traffic. Because we don't know what's the title. For example, what's the title? We don't know which title people will resonate with. So, for example, what's the title of your last your last Monday?
The last Monday was
Any title?
any time.
Yeah, any title of any Mondays you have.
Finding joy in sadness.
Okay. What's the second title? Can you give us a second title?
Forgiving yourself.
So, which one of these titles will resonate more with each one around the table here? So, the first one or second one?
The first one, because that's personal curiosity.
Okay.
Second one.
Second one.
Second.
Mike.
First one.
First one. So, around this
That's why I'm
table.
so confused.
That's why around this table, people have different opinion. So I don't know, out of the 48 or 52, I believe you have now by now like 52 or 56 different or 60 different. I don't know which one of these 60 titles will resonate better with someone who is a target audience listening to this content, and this target audience will submit an email. So I don't know. So if I have people following me in these platforms and I keep feeding them on a daily basis or every other day or whatever schedule, my old content, repurpose them the old content. I don't know which one wants to listen to the new one. Each one of those must have call to action, which basically submit your email. Any questions? The strategy clear? All what you need to make sure is you have the right platform set up and check that platform health every 2-3 months. Means you have all the plugins and you automate the updates for the plugins and you leave it. If you want to use this tool, it's the same. You set them up and every 1 or 2 months, 3 months, you can check the health of them. Now, there's a distinction here between audience and target audience. So how do I know target audience on Facebook or on any of these platforms?
If they hit like or they share.
Target audience will be people who are joining work groups or groups on Facebook which talk about the same pain I have or similar pain. So you have like law of attraction groups, that's right? You have like if somebody doing divorce work, not to divorce people but to heal people after divorce, there is a divorce support group. So there are some public groups here where I can figure out there are some targets. When I go and join a speaking promotion group, this is not my target audience. I am doing this for different reason, because I wanna my colleagues recognize me as a credible, so they can invite me to their events. Make sense? I can also create a special groups and make them open and public for people to sign up, because I want to segment audience from target audience. Make sense? Questions here, as you can see.
Do you post a lot of your content on groups on Facebook? So like
Facebook will not allow you to automatically
post to groups.
post to groups. There is a special way of doing it, which is not trivial. But you should share some of your content manually or by having a virtual assistant who will go in and share. And I do have somebody helping me here, and they screw me up a couple of times, but still they're efficient in sharing it. So You can either share when you have interesting content, and if you share and people will like what you share, most likely they will sign up with you as friends. So what you put on your wall, they will see as well. Make sense? Any questions? Bakri, any questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
So what is the reason for us to be existing on these ones? It's to be found. When people search Google, they will find us on all of this. Okay?
Google.
Yes, because Google, Yahoo, and Bing are actually monitoring what activity happening in all of this. If you Google a title of your blogs, what will happen? Or a title of your write, go to LinkedIn and write a title and a post with a title, and then pick up this title and put it on Google, Bing, and Yahoo, and guess what will happen? They will find that they are pulling the title from your LinkedIn website, because all the search engines are doing now are doing this.
If it's public.
All of the search engines are doing it, are indexing this as resources for information. And I am biased again as the concept of my people will be in a Facebook group.
So is that like the holistic group? Is where you'd be posting? Does that make sense? Like there's a group.
There is a yeah. If you work with holistic people,
Right.
you can share on the holistic group. It was so funny. I had a WordPress support post. I shared it with the WordPress group, and people said this is a self promotion. I said like, okay, I'm not part of the group anymore, because like so great things happening over there. You can also look at what Shamir was talking about, the demographic. So there is, if this will go with Russian, on Facebook there is groups for Russian in Canada.
Oh, okay.
There is a group for Egyptians in Calgary.
Yeah, but they only.
There is groups for Arabs in Canada.
Yeah, but it's only for people who are of that heritage too.
Not really.
Really?
Anybody can join. Yes.
Really?
Based on the group policy, it may be differ. However, 80% of the time it's, so when here around this table we say all or many, we means 80%. Like even all the people means 80% of the people are, not all, not 100%, because 20% or 30% will say no for reason of
Your hair color.
saying no. That's right. Just say they don't, they will not buy. So just remind yourself, when we say all, there's always the exceptions. That's right. All humans are, there's an exception. So when we say all, so there are groups which is very limited. There are groups which is very secretive. There are groups which will allow you to join anywhere. And also there are groups which is written in a different language. Like the group title will be the other language. Okay, so if you look at different demographic here from these countries, you should spend a little bit of time analyzing where they may exist. So how do I analyze this? By doing a search on the social media platform. You search for the title of the group.
Yeah.
You will find some. And you take this as a starting point. For the group from like Syrian and Iraqi in Canada, I created groups for this. And I have groups which is like on a daily basis between 2 to 20 people signing up on a regular basis. Because I said the group of Canadian Iraqis in Canada. Because I had an offer for them. So the group right now, I believe like 5,000 people, very engaged. They keep coming in on a regular basis. Because they keep telling each other. And usually if you sign up to a group, your friends may know, because there is a way for them to know. And if you like in a group, most likely people will come and like in the same group, because they see you interacting with posts in this group. Make sense? Any discussions here? So this is what I call it structure. not activity. Because the activity will be what kind of post you want to do it here. In this particular case, the 15 minutes are the post every Monday. Can you put other posts as well? Yes and no. You can keep sharing different posts as information or not, based on what you want to do. Can you make an infograph? Can you make a checklist, a report? Can you share some interesting information? It's up to you what you want to do. Also, can you send a post in these ones asking them for interaction? So, like share your last, the third image of your phone, or this kind of this.
I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
So all what these are doing is what? They create interactions here or here or here. So your followers within these interactions, they know you share this content. And what will happen? Your follower will come and see them. Okay? Any questions? Okay.
It looks pretty good. It's just, to me, it looks like a little bit of work. And I'm
It's
thinking
less than 1 hour, literally. If you have the website, it's less than 1 hour work. If you don't have the website,
Don't listen to him.
it's less than 2 hours work. Why?
No, I'm gonna do my website.
As long as you are not picky about how they look like, and
There's the catch.
Yeah.
okay, because there are some
I'll make you a
people.
sandwich. I'll just throw bread and peanut butter.
There are some people who sit and they want to make sure that it's exact this particular dimension, and they forgot that. Who I'm talking about? Somebody in this room, and they forget that currently these platforms, they appear on how many screens? They appear on a very small screen, which basically the Apple Watch. Okay? And they appear on a much bigger screen, which is up to the regular phones you have. And then they will appear on a bigger screen, which is the Plus, and then there is another level of screen, which is the iPad Mini to iPad, and then the third screen will be the iPad Pro and the Surface, and then you have the laptop, and then you have the regular desktop computer. So currently this information will be exposed on at least between 5 to 7 screen sizes. So if you want to be that much picky, as somebody used to be in this group who has a special font for his company, I call this crazy.
Not me. I don't have that. Just so you know.
Yeah, you have just the size. I know. I remember.
It's not you?
No, it's not him. But somebody came here and said, I paid somebody to design a special font for my company. Okay, it's good practice. But this was like 20 years ago. Right now, you should also avoid Google fonts. You should just use, my recommendation, use a very common general font which will exist in all possible platforms, because we don't know within 6 months to a year from now what kind of new platform people are using it. Now, each one of these sides of the screens, you have an Android base or iOS base, or there are Samba, there are like 6 other operating systems on the side. So because of all of these unknowns, I usually look at doing things fluid. Use what you have on the basic platform. Don't try to be fancy. And make sure that it will appear genuinely okay, not good, okay, on all possible screens, because we don't know. The only things we know is you have to be responsive, because if your images and you don't have the sizes which is smaller and responsive, people will not see you on handheld. Statistics showed more than 95% of the users are using handheld devices to access these platforms. The question is, who are the other 5% who are using on regular computers? It's mainly people who are developing content for these people to see. When they share content, they use regular computers. Why?
I thought you would have said senior citizens.
No,
Not anymore.
not anymore. Like even if you go to the library now, they don't have computers anymore. They have iPads.
Really?
Yeah,
I haven't been to one.
the new libraries they only have iPads. If you go to the new banks, they don't have laptops anymore. They have iPads. So the bank used to have a computer for you to check your account online. Now they have everything iPad. So iPad is a mobile device. So the shift towards this mobile devices make it sure that you don't have you don't need you cannot be picky about how things will be. The most so does this make sense? I'm not talking today about messaging. So and you must have a way to call to action that people can sign up in this email to be able to get updates. Now, if you look at the YouTube, majority of the YouTube programs right now or videos, in the very beginnings, I will tell you to keep watching this video like these videos. Please press subscribe and click on the bell to get notified, because YouTube will have subscription and then have a bell shape. If you click on the bell shape, what will happen? You will get notification.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So majority of the videos right now on YouTube, they will say to watch this video or similar video, I remind you to subscribe, or to watch the previous and future episodes, subscribe to the video channel and sign and click on the bell. Okay? Literally, if 3.7 times viewing of the different if somebody will see 3.7 videos, they will click on subscribe, and they will click on the bell usually about 5 to 6 times when they see 5 to 6 content from you. So it takes some time. However, you have to make sure you have call to action in your snippet. If you have video snippet, you must at the end have call to action to click here to subscribe for email to access the viewing. Make sense? So, any questions? Remember, what we talked about today is basically getting people in this way, getting them from lead to clients, because they will subscribe by email, they will watch the video here, or they will watch live view or access videos, right? So they experience you. That's right. Now, how you can get them as prospects? What will happen with prospecting? What you do? You have what?
Interaction.
Dialogue. Yeah, you have interaction. So if you want to create a prospect stage, what you can do is you can basically post questions or post shows like share your second video, your third image of your phone. This is where you are working on getting some interaction. So lead, they support you, they provide emails or phone numbers. Client, they experience part of your service without paying you any value back, or without paying you money back or value back. Prospecting means you are in discussion with them. So if you ask them questions, what you want to cover in the next show or the next event, which is a couple of the individuals I'm working with, they do have a YouTube channel. This is what they do: is they ask, "Oh, do you like this particular show? Let me know what other topics you wanna discuss in the future. Put them below." There's someone who profile individuals, like he talk about specific individuals, flagship or people in the community, and they say, who you want us to profile next time. suggest names. So they look at prospecting because they want to get people to be client. These particular businesses are about getting money from advertisement. So they don't care about selling you. What they care is selling advertisement. So for them, the customers who are paying them money are not the viewer, are the people coming through YouTube to pay advertisement. Okay? So this is a different model, but still staged within the same 10 stages of interaction. Any questions? So the question to you back, how you will apply this particular topic inside what you do right now? What is the first, if you want to reflect back and say how you will apply, and also you should say like my next 1 or 2, 3 steps will be.
So understand Facebook and LinkedIn, you can write articles and paragraphs. How does that apply to Twitter or Instagram where you're just looking at images? How do you get that message across on those other platforms?
So what I'm talking about here is not to write messages or post on Facebook and LinkedIn. What I'm explaining here is, if you have your YouTube video,
This is only relating to videos.
videos and images,
And how to share the videos.
you put them on your Facebook, on your website as a post, and then you take this post link
Right.
and automatically share it on Facebook, LinkedIn. Now, with something like Yoast, you can do for this post, you can add a title for the post and you can add a body for the post.
Okay.
So what I'm talking about here is you don't generically interact with the platform. You interact with them through the Yoast or through the sharing content from here.
Okay. So what
Twitter is only limited now. They expanded from what used to be. Twitter is only limited to like 90 characters or so,
Right.
which is a snippet. So what this tool will do, it will give the snippet from Twitter, the summary, and it will share the link to your website.
Okay. And what gets shared on Instagram?
Instagram will share an image of your post with a snippet on Instagram.
How do you share an image of a post?
The tool will automatically, because this
It just does a freeze frame on the video screen?
you can specify which image.
Okay.
You can specify which image you want to add to your post.
Okay.
So the post can have an image, and the website can have an image. So if the post will not have the image, the website image will go instead. And you can customize these pages. So the point I want to drive to here is, don't generically put YouTube and share it back to your Facebook. Get it through your website. It has values, because automatically there are tools can share up to 6 or 10.
So is the video actually on
It will be
your
stored.
website, or where's it stored?
It was stored on YouTube for
It's
now,
still stored
because
on YouTube.
you cannot afford having the video on your website,
Right.
because the traffic can actually break the bank.
Right.
So you can put the videos on Vimeo on YouTube,
Vimeo?
on YouTube,
Okay.
and the
So
gated.
Are they equal in their storage capabilities, or is one better?
They have
Whatever
different
video.
audience. So Vimeo will be most likely people who are looking for sport events, people who are looking for movies. They will go mainly on Vimeo. There is there's a third one as well, which I remember.
Vistia is one.
What?
Vistia is one.
Vistia,
It's a new one for the webpage videos.
and there's another one. There's another one, Dailymotion,
Oh yeah.
and there's a famous one called Dailymotion. So on Dailymotion, people will go to pirated shows from the movies. They always exist on Dailymotion, because Dailymotion does not have a restrict rule around copyright. So if you want to watch Star Wars brand new movie,
Yeah.
most likely the stream will be coming from Dailymotion. Because within 15 minutes of putting it on YouTube, they will remove it for copyright violation.
So your point that I want to emphasize is this: you're sending your pictures, your videos, and your content through your website. So you post that all onto your website first, and then have these plugins that distribute it to your Facebook, your LinkedIn, and your Twitter, and then.
And you set up the plugin once, and hopefully once for all in your lifetime, or like within a year, you can set up for once, and all what you need to create is this content.
So my second question is creating the structure on your website in order to feature that. So
it's a different story.
Yeah, I know it's still.
It's not part of this discussion. Okay, it's a different story.
Okay.
Like how you can structure your website and what kind of theme you can use for your website is beyond the scope of this particular presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our presentation here the title is what? How you can expand your reach and collect more emails so you can have more leads will come to see your free sessions. This is our contest, because if we will branch into all other our self talks, what will happen? Do you agree? People here will be going all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So the question back to Mike is, what learning do you have today, and how you apply this in your current status or your current situation? So what is the next 2 actions you want to do to apply any of these if they are relevant to what you do right now?
Create the content.
Create the content.
Create the structure of the website. That's like my next action.
Okay. Marcel?
Well, I have still one gap in there,
Which is
which is the published website. So I'm working only on the social media platforms right now.
If you work on the social media platform from your website, even if your website is not fully published, it will make a lot sense next year, because when you revive these blogs, it will basically saves you all. Like for me, I have this revive which sent I think twice or 3 times from my my personal website. I have this 300 post over there. I don't need to worry about it.
No, I know. I remember that I've seen 1 or 2 of those before.
Yeah.
So I can tell when Revive was active on your website. So I have one question back. You would even share the photos. What I'm doing right now, starting an Instagram and then distributing it from the website.
So every blog on WordPress will have a key. What's they call it? What's they call the image? Feature image.
Yeah.
So each blog will have a feature image. Moreover, if you have Yoast, it can specify specific images for specific social media platforms.
So I even can put the right size
Yes.
of each
Yes.
photo.
Yes.
So if I
So
use the focus word in 3 different
So on
sizes.
Yoast there is a hidden icon. There is an icon look like this.
Yeah.
So if you click on this icon, it will ask you exactly what's the title you want to show on Facebook if it's different than the post title, what title you want to show on Twitter if it's different than the post title, what kind of body you need to have there, what kind of body you need to have for Twitter, what kind of image you need to have for Facebook, what kind of image you need to have for Twitter, and some other information. So if you set up this post fully in all of these, what will happen is the featured image can go, if you don't have, it will go to LinkedIn. However, the featured image of Facebook or Twitter or Instagram will be featured. It's not as hard as going to specific platforms and doing it. Okay, and you can automate, you can mechanically resize the images all the time. And there is after all of you will come back to have a reflection time, there is a big advantage I will share with you. Very valuable advantage I will share with you. Does this answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
There's also some other plugins on WordPress which will optimize for other material, but I don't want to overwhelm you with the information. So, what's the next step? What is the 1 or 2, 3 actions item? And please write down these action items in your notes, because if you don't apply what we talk about here, there is no value of this work groups. So, what is the immediate, the next action?
Well, this is what I talked about in the intro, like what I'm gonna do with the post moving forward. Like have the explanation portion in there, or even the questions to get the interaction. So that's what I had in the intro when I was in the hot seat.
Okay. One more thing for you: if you feel comfort posting on Facebook, there's actually a reverse plugin on WordPress, which take your Facebook feed
And puts it onto your website.
and make them blogs on your website.
That's a cool idea.
Then what you will do is you can have a sharing plugins, which will take the new WordPress post and share it to the other social media.
Mm-hmm.
Are you following?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you don't have a closed loop, because
I know this.
you got from me 2 closed loops.
Yeah.
So you share, it goes back, then it shares back to Facebook, then it goes back and shares back to Facebook. So I had a situation where I had like 600 posts going in a minute. And actually, I got a phone call from Marcel one time. Oh, shut these things. So I went in and I closed it.
So we talked about this before. This is a framework independent on whatever you do. But if you follow that, make a flow chart on how your information flows. Like no matter where you're starting.
And we can have the flow chart next time. Like next work group, we can actually talk more globally about maybe the website, maybe how this one, because Facebook has also what we call it, it has groups. It has also something called Facebook pages.
Yeah.
That's right. So a Facebook page will be for a business or for a book or for whatever. So each one of these has its own dynamics and it has its own specifics. The point of today is this is the general way of doing it. If you want to implement it, bring your laptop, we can implement it here, not a big deal. And if you want to create more of these, we will get into more specifics. Okay? Bakri,
Action item would be to capitalize on this and to draw people into having a username and a password and getting on our newsletter. So if they like the content that they see on Facebook or the blog or the website, they would be able to get more material like that.
So you said more material like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do videos, you cannot ask them to subscribe to newsletter, because newsletter is not more material like that. You said more material like that.
It would be a video newsletter. So you would receive videos, like when you do webinars, not all the webinars are public, or even if they're all public, you can send them one monthly, so they don't have to be at a certain time at a certain place online to watch you, but they can get more material. What I'm trying to do is to have a list of when I have a promotion, when I have an event, when I have something, I can send it to everybody. Guys, we're having a webinar on that day. It's only $10, and to be able to grow that list. It's nice to have followers on Facebook. Nice to have followers and subscribers on YouTube.
So here, his lead magnet is this 15 minutes.
Right.
It's not an ebook. It's not a report. His lead magnet is the 15 minutes.
Okay.
This is his lead magnet. So anybody who will spare 15 minutes will be heavily engaged. Okay. Any other actions that you've?
Not really. This is new to me, and it will take a little bit of practice and a lot of time with you to be able.
And that's why I was focusing on you on the question, because I know that other people around the table are very more familiar than myself on these topics.
Right.
So that's why I was I know that's good. Yeah. Our good friend. So what's the next action?
For me, what Marcel said, to create that flow chart and try to leverage my existing content, but see if I can access the other channels. And VK and Instagram are two that I haven't really tapped into. LinkedIn, I'm not sure that's the audience that I have. They're more corporate business, and I'm developing a product for them. So I want to leave LinkedIn out of this thing for that particular offer, but I think LinkedIn will play a role when I develop a product for that.
So LinkedIn historically is known as a corporate world. However, people in corporate are not on LinkedIn if they are not finding jobs. If you are not looking for a new job, you'll not be on LinkedIn. So there are active groups on LinkedIn which are actually on the different feeling side.
Oh,
So-
you mean in terms of in groups?
In groups, yeah.
Do you post in groups directly in LinkedIn or only on your?
No, there are some groups, but LinkedIn have been restructured the group, so you have to do some effort to find out this group. This group used to be very, very visual. You used to have a limitation of 50 groups only to sign up to. Now they open it up more than 50, and the groups will. Their walls are not optimized for the groups yet. You have to go to the groups to find out about them. It's not as visual as. If you can check some groups over there, but I still, if I want to rank higher on Bing, Bing is owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft owns LinkedIn. That's right. So if I want to higher on LinkedIn, on Bing, LinkedIn is the way.
Why would I want to get higher on Bing? Where's Bing?
In some countries, Bing are much higher rates than Google, and Google is copying what Bing is doing. So there is a philosophy that if you exist higher on the three search and on two search engine, the third one will rank you even higher, much higher, because they are actually observing what's happening everywhere. All of these search engines with the cookies we have right now, they are actually able to breach to other search engine cookies, so they know what you're searching on. So if you go on Bing and search something, and then you go on Google, you'll find the ad is relevant to what you're looking for at Bing. There is also the what's called
DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo.
This is search engines which does not make cookies on your systems.
So like,
These are neutral search engines.
like incognito.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. DuckDuckGo is actually much more, is Google of this particular world as popularity. So if you go to DuckDuckGo, they have no cookies. There is no history about you. They give you ranking
Do you
based
have a
on.
VPN attached to you as well?
Sorry?
No.
Do you have a VPN number?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
No,
So it's like the Onion browser.
It's,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, it's like the Onion browser. But don't download the Onion browser because CIA, FBI will be monitoring you. There's so 2 or 3 browsers. If you download them, people will know you download them because you can basically hide everything behind what you do.
Unless you have a VPN on your computer.
You know. So anyway, away from this particular, our customers are not sophisticated like this. Okay, our customers and clients are actually people who hate Facebook and social media. Any questions? Are you ready now to the why we do this? So I explained why. The rationale to do this is there is something magic called pixel. Do you know what's pixel? So pixel is a code where this social media now, it started with Facebook and now everybody's implementing it. So if a user will click on this link, the Facebook and social media will know that these users are interested in this website. Okay? So any information will come from this website later on, it will be exposed to this user. When you have money to run advertisement, we use a retargeting from the pixel to have the ad in front of people who visited my website. So pixel, it's a plugin it's a plugin and the setup you get from here. into the plugin, and this will make Facebook and all the social media aware of who clicked on your post and visited your website. That's it. They keep list of each one who visit your website. Now, you assume you have a promotion of an ad, like a promotion for like a new workshop. If you pay advertisement to Facebook, they will grab the information from their pixel list, and they can expose this particular advertisement in front of the people who click on your website.
Or click on things that relate to your website.
Okay? So we do this structure primarily to collect information of people who are doing what? Who are visiting my website. People who click and visit my website. So when we talk about what plugins we have to install, there is a bunch of plugins I can recommend. They work together somehow. One of them is the Pixel plugin. And once you pick up the Pixel code from this website and put it inside your plugin, anybody coming from Facebook to your website, what will happen? Facebook will know that these people are clicked on your website. Now you come with a paid advertisement and say, I want to show these people who are interested. This is called the retargeting. So Facebook will place your advertisement in front of people who visit your website. Doing it in any alternative way, you leave on the table lots of intelligent information which can help you posting your business. If there are 300 people interested here and you give an offer, you will have a higher conversion rate from these 300 people compared to what? To the general population, that's right? Because I am an audience. What make me target audience for your message? I exposed my blog here. So here is my blog post. Here my post on Facebook. I see it as audience. That's right. If I click on it, it means what?
You become target audience.
So when I click, so that click will move me to here to your website. That's right. When I submit my email, I became your lead. When I watch your video or your 15-minute live, I became
Client.
When I submit a question, I became
Prospect.
a prospect. So doing it in this way, it's a must. It's not an option. Why it's a must? Because when you set up the structure right with the pixels, what you do now? You allow this Facebook and search and different engines to collect traffic information. 2, 3 months, 6 months down the road, when you be ready, you will not starting from zero list. You will start from much higher list. Does this make sense to you? Make sense? So how many of you have a pixel on their Facebook, on their website active?
I do, but I have not really used it. I just put it on my main one.
But if you don't get people from here to click, you will not populate it.
I know, and you need a certain amount of traffic for Facebook to be able to use it. I mean, they say you can't use the pixel unless you've got a whole bunch of traffic that comes to your website for them to actually create the audience for you so you can retarget them.
So, however, they just keep track of whoever coming.
Yeah, they do.
That's right. So you can build this traffic over the years. So every single post you do directly on Facebook that is not going through your pixel, we call it wasted effort. Because your effort is focused on growing your emails. And I believe sometime down the road, somebody will come with a third-party tool which will be very expensive to buy, which can extract and interpret the pixel information to make it email list. Like the 24/7, the 24/7 social. 24/7 social will get whoever will click on your post, it will give you the email inside their profile of Facebook. But it's a fairly
Social 22 or that?
24/7 social, I believe,
Okay.
or social 22. I believe it's 24/7 social.
Okay.
So the point I want to make sure you understand is having a website, it's a must. Having the website to drive all your traffic, which means 80% of your posts relevant to what you do, is a must. Having the structure is one time you can structure it, and when WordPress will be updated every 6 months or a year, we can revisit the structure. But spending more time on making your posts is the best investment of your time right now, because it already feeds this particular audience. Make sense? Any questions or last reflections before we conclude that
Does this work if you don't have WordPress?
if you don't have WordPress, so what do you have?
My computer science friend built it up, like HTML code.
Okay, if you have HTML code, you are not in the game.
If you what?
If you have an HTML code,
I don't know if it's full HTML or not. But
because there are pixels for it. If you go to the configuration of the pixel from Facebook, they will provide you with an HTML code. You can embed it inside your website.
I don't know if it's HTML code. Like it's not a basic website, but it's just created by him. It's not a
Probably
WordPress.
JavaScript. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Anything outside WordPress is the wrong strategy, sorry to say, because Google favor WordPress, because WordPress give Google lots of content from bloggers.
Yeah.
So basically, if you want to be found, you should use what Google wants to, where Google wants to find you. That's it. That's why I'm just a very biased individual against any customization. Like when I got a developer, he wants to really customize things for me, I say thank you, God bless you and bless me, and we can be friends. WordPress will be updated every 6 months to a year to a completely new version. Security policies will be upgraded every 1 year or so. Everything is updated in the communities right now. So using custom things for you, it's a point where you need to invest in the future more if you can afford to keep it with the current standards.
So
Now, for example, the GDPR,
GDPR, yeah.
when it came out, there were plugins on WordPress to solve it. If you go to your custom developer and ask him to add this code, it's another it's another $500 to $1,000 to maintain your website. While for us it was just a bunch of plugins, we tested 3 or 4, and I believe I still have 2. That's why you have 2 times the questions active on one of the websites, and things will move on. So the recommendation we have on the table is WordPress and WordPress exclusively.
Because I've tried to use WordPress last year, and that was a nightmare. And then I tried to use Wix, and that didn't work either.
Wix is a free. We don't use it because it's not. People will not come. We cannot charge people when you use it for your services. But WordPress is not difficult. Like everybody on this table, with their computer illiteracy.
I've used WordPress before, but it didn't meet what I wanted it to do.
And that's why you need to change what you want to do to what meets what WordPress can do.
Okay.
And this is completely.
It's like a custom build thing.
Actually,
No.
on WordPress, if you want to do custom books or you want to do custom newspaper and magazines, there are special plugins for this.
Right, because it's mainly blog based. But when I try to feature
No.
my portfolio,
No.
WordPress is a blog site.
It used to be, not anymore.
Oh,
There
which one? If you go to the
Because I've tried to buy templates, and I bought a $100 template once, and it still just worked as a blog site. And I was like, I don't want it to be a blog. I want it to feature my clients, and I want it to feature my portfolio, and I want it to feature my
Spark.
Yeah, this is Spark. This is a template Spark. I can show you a few things. We can show you a
Okay.
few things, which
Let's
is
just take 20, like 5 minutes afterwards.
yeah, like we can show you a few things because. As I said, like I have my own bias and identify the bias because it's me. I know Mike has some Joomla websites, which is historically and they're still performing well for him. God bless him, God bless Joomla, but he did not touch it for so many years as well,
Right.
and it's still working. It's good. So the new trend right now for us is everybody's going WordPress. Why we want to go Joomla? Joomla used to be a good membership website when WordPress was not there. Now WordPress with the new plugins is almost there. So do you wanna value what you wanna do? You do this to be found. So people wants to find you on their favorite platforms. So don't be from this orphan world and say no. I wanna use this JavaScript or this HTML because it can cause problems in the future. Okay. Any more discussions? Any more questions? So, how was the day today? Was it good? Shamir, what do you think of it?
Yeah, it's a good reminder to look for some low cost channels that are already available to us. We're not tapping into them, and so I have to rethink. So when I'm ready to launch my product, figuring out the pricing and all that, I think these are the channels that I would just put it out to.
Bakri, how do you reflect on the day?
That's very good. What I'm seeing for myself is consistency. Just keep coming and keep doing things, and just see the vision through and see it not a week or a month from now, but maybe 6 months from now, a year from now, if I keep, doing all the things that I'm learning here. That's very beneficial. Thank you.
Sandon, how you reflect on the whole day?
Oh, the whole day? I really got some good points out of it from the start of talking about the controversial topics in social media, and then this has been interesting because I want to start, I guess, as I start to create more blog posts or more YouTube posts that relate to my content to kind of build a following, then this comes in handy to when I actually want to start doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Mike, how do you reflect on the whole day?
Just reiterates the point that I got to start putting together the content for distribution, whether it's short stories or short paragraphs, or just wrapping my mind around stories and stuff like that.
Yeah. Marcel, how?
I like that this time we just looked at the framework so that it's applicable for everyone rather than going into too many different examples. That style of showing it makes it, in my opinion, very clear and as a framework which can be applied to whatever product you have.
Good. And you understand why I do the reflection? Because the best way for you to learn is what?
Repetition.
To know the other people how they learn. So that's why I always do like one or two reflections, one reflection on the topic, one reflection on the whole day, so it can keep reminding us who's it. Okay, thank you very much, and all the best. And we have a session on Monday.
Yeah.
Here, for 6 hours, 10 to 4.
Topic? Not to be shared?
Make it surprise.
Okay.
He makes it up on the fly.
Oh really? Oh really? Yeah, this actually okay.
That's the kind of inflammatory things you don't say. Just so you know.
I agree.
I was giving you an example.
And
It was just for an example.
yeah.
By the way, when I model my material in this way, I can really understand who I'm targeting. And this is not the only model. You can model them in a different way. You can define these people in a different way. So you may define prospect once they see your videos, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how you can what definition of client or prospects.
Well, I would say prospects are the people that attend my live webinars.
You can define it in this way. Nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So what you do basically is this blue line will be moved here under the green.
Oh,
Okay? Now, here is we have a gap. how are you filling this gap? Maybe it will be when they make a phone call, or they come to you, or they come to your free seminar, or they come to you. It doesn't matter. The foundation is, I found when I model in this way, and I put rational and understanding what is the offer and what action I will take to move them through, it will help me getting more clarity. So I know that people here need to know more the value I provide, and we can use the quadrant, whatever value. I know here I need more interaction. You need to have a CRM. So CRM is very important. And I know we have a disagreement. I love Infusionsoft. You guys have different ideas. However,
Do you use Infusionsoft?
I
Yeah.
love Infusionsoft.
Are you really
I
good
just
at
think
it?
that I'm good at it.
You understand it? Do you understand it more so?
The problem is that it's just overpriced.
it pays the bill.
I still can't figure it out. I've been paying for it for 4 years. I can't figure it out.
Oh, Lyle can help you. Lyle
Yeah.
can help you. Lyle's got more current with it because I stopped using it 3 years ago. But I used to make it stand on its ear. Like I used to implement it for my clients.
No, it's a very powerful tool. I signed up for something new, for $100 lifetime, unlimited things. It was called Inbox or anything. It starts with IN. However, I didn't have time for the last 4 weeks to play with it. So if any of you guys wants to play with it, they promise this is the best one after Infusionsoft, and they had the promotion of signing up for it.
You don't?
Oh, buy the apps.
Yeah, if you tell me what the name is, I wouldn't mind just looking at it.
Most of the
Yeah,
emails you get-
so I have the credential. I have it. I have the credential. I have everything.
If you're
So
on a mailing list, most of them come to you from Infusionsoft.
if you wanna look at it, so there's a couple of new tools came in, but this one was very attractive.
E-commerce part in there too.
It's called Inbox, I
Follow-up
believe, or
things,
something like that.
Yeah.
And the functionality they showed was very similar to Infusionsoft. The only things I couldn't figure out is, can I really import list, or it has to build on its own?
Oh, no.
And then I signed up, I signed to the login, and then life took me elsewhere. So it's one of my action items to actually explore it more when I have time. So, okay, so thank you very much, and see you Monday.
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.